welcome back to me in my living room. I've been excited to film this one for a little while actually. Trevor and I have both been very into our fiber crafting lately and learning how to make our own clothes, especially with us being in the depths of winter right now. It's always nice to just have a stash of yarn and fabric, so there's always a project to work on while we're watching our movies and staying warm. We have honestly had a pretty stressful last few months, so recently I thought it would be nice to just treat ourselves to some yarn shopping. I planned a whole date to go around to a few different yarn shops in the city, two of which I had been to before at some point in the past, and one which has been recommended to me a lot recently. This was mostly just a fun thing for us to do, but I also filmed while we were out, and I just wanted to talk about the places that we went and also a few fun things we did nearby while we were out, in case you're also hoping to maybe have your own little New York yarn day. So follow me around for that.
Take me back to what it has been. Everything up here is new. I can't stand it, just must land it. Going back to what it has been. Everything you do, people got their eyes on you.
So the first yarn store that we went to was a place in Bushwick called Cleo's. This is the one that's been recommended to me a lot recently. Every time I show someone one of my recent projects or it gets brought up that I like to crochet, people ask me if I've been to this place. They're more recently opened, and also I'm in Brooklyn, so it's more local to me. Even though it's been hyped up a lot, my expectations were a little bit low. I was expecting it to be kind of a very trendy and overpriced spot just because of the area that it's in. But I was actually like super pleasantly surprised. They had some higher end yarns that were a little bit expensive, but for the most part it was pretty comparable to what I'm used to spending on yarn. I feel like this is a good point in the video to preface the fact that I am not a fibercraft expert. I'm pretty new to it still, so this is all obviously just my experience of these places, and I'm sorry if I make mistakes in my terminology or anything like that. But even just first impression, it was a very lovely little community space, because in addition to all the stuff that they sell, they also host a lot of classes and events. There was a whole board full of resources for people who work as a fiber artist, fundraisers, events, like all on this little communal space with couches to sit and hang out. They do have a coffee shop in there as well, so it's a nice place to come in. You can shop, you can hang out, you can take classes. So I think that's super cool. They even had like a bin full of free yarn where you can come in and bring yarn you've decided not to use for whatever reason, and people can, no questions asked, just come in and take yarn if they need some. So I thought that was really cool too. I think it was like very approachable as a beginner as well. There were shelves full of the yarn that they had, and then next to it they would have examples of like a project that had been made with that yarn, and then for a lot of those you could also buy the pattern for that project if you wanted to make the same thing. They even have like bingo cards that you could take home to get rewards and things, like if you made certain projects. The staff were also so nice. We were in there shopping around for a little while, and they let us be while we were looking around, which I really appreciate. But it was really nice to be able to just look around, take our time, talk to each other. But then when we did end up like going to them because we had a question, they were very chatty and asking about what we were making and all that stuff. Trevor ended up getting a few things from there. Basically all the stuff that he's using to work on his first sock project. So this nice like blue yarn, which has a cool kind of texture to it, and the color's really nice. And then also all these new double point needles, which are so cute. I feel like I've never really seen anything like this. Yeah, both of these were a little bit expensive, but I feel like they're so cool and well made. And they did send me like an itemized receipt with pictures in my email afterwards, so that if he needs to go back and restock on the yarn, they have like a reference of everything that he was using to make it. And I think the socks are going to turn out very cute, and I'm very excited to wear them. And overall it just felt like a really nice creative hub hangout space in the community, so I was really surprised and found it really cute, and I'll definitely be back. We also did a few things after we left, so it ended up being a really nice day all around. One of my favorite food spots is over in that area, like only a few blocks away from Cleo's. It's a Mediterranean restaurant that we used to live closer to back when I was living in Bushwick, and it was like one of my favorite like takeout spots. They don't have indoor dining, but they have like a picnic bench that you can sit on outside if you really want to. But we got some good food, so I was happy. And then we also went to Bushwick Market while we were over there, which is like a really huge outdoor flea market where they have all kinds of random stuff. They have like old film equipment, and Trevor mostly goes because he likes to look at the records that they have. There are a lot of them, some very affordable, some very much not. Antique clothing, fabric, all kinds of like literally anything. I've been a lot of times to Bushwick Market and I've never actually bought anything. Usually when we go it is just Trevor getting new records because a lot of it's a little pricey, but it's still a fun place to go and walk around even if you don't end up buying anything. But that was the Bushwick day. Full disclosure, when I originally had the idea for this video, I wanted to do all 3 stores in one day, but it ended up just not being very realistic. The sun is only up for like 6 daytime hours right now, so we broke it up. We did the Brooklyn one in one day, and then like the next week we did the Manhattan one. So skipping forward a week to our shopping day in West Village.
Once I was happy with heart free from care, had a daddy and mama so sweet, doll and a doggy and playthings so dear, and stockings and shoes on my feet. But now through this world I must wander alone, begging for pennies and bread.
Whoa.
For I have no daddy, no mama, nor home, no place to pillow my head. No home, no home, no home, no home, no place to pillow my head.
So for our first stop in Manhattan, we ended up going to West Village Knit and Needle. I have actually been to this shop before, but it was a few years ago, back when I was working in West Village, and at the time I was not yet into crochet. Trevor hadn't started knitting yet. So I mostly just looked at some of their needlepoint stuff and didn't really have too much of a reason to go back. But I wanted to check it out again. I also just like realized that it had been a really long time since I had been to West Village. I think it's so strange, like living in a city this big, there will be a place that like for one part of my life, I'm just like going there every single day, and then next thing I know it's like I think I haven't been there in like a year, even though it's like 2 miles away. Knit and Needle is a much smaller space than Cleo's was. I was glad I had my wide angle lens to try to capture everything. I know they focus a lot on their classes and also on their needlepoint supplies, and so they don't have as much to offer in terms of yarn. They had a whole wall that was just cross-stitch patterns and embroidery looms and that kind of stuff. I'll give the same compliment that I gave before. The staff were really nice and helpful. When we were checking out, they took my name and stuff so they could keep track of the yarn that I was using and that they could order restocks for me if I ran out while I was working on the project. So that was really nice. I ended up getting 2 skeins of yarn for a project that I wanted to do to make some leg warmers. There wasn't a lot of variety, but I knew that I wanted something neutral toned with like a bit of texture or speckles or weirdness to it. I already finished the project, but I'll show it to you so you can see what the yarn that I got looks like. So this is what they had that I thought would be good for the project, and it was definitely more expensive than yarn that I usually buy, but like I said, we were treating ourselves that day, so I got to watch them spin the yarn in front of me, which they actually did do at Cleo's as well, but I didn't film it there. So we got some good coffee from Oslo Cafe, which is a place that I used to go on my lunch break when I was working in West Village. It's very cute, small, hidden shop. Got to take our coffee to the pier at Hudson River Park, which was really nice. It's kind of a sentimental spot for us and we don't get to go back too often. But that was pretty much the time in West Village. Our next spot was in the Lower East Side. I pulled out my phone, I don't know why, expecting there to be like a very easy train route from where we were at to where we were going, but it ended up being like just as much time to walk. And so since it wasn't too freezing that day, we decided to just do the 40-minute walk as opposed to paying $6 to jump on the train. And I will say it was a nice walk. If you don't mind walking, it was a nice walk that day.
Humbly now I pray, help me to leave my service give all along my way, that I, O Lord, may live for thee, do thy blessed command. When trying moments come to me, help me, Lord, to stand.
Help me,
oh
Lord,
Lord, to stand each temptation that come
along
my way, along my way.
The place we were headed to and the Lower East Side is called Downtown Yarns. This is actually the place that I had been to most recently. Last time we did a restock for a project, this is the place we went to. And I was so excited to go back. The space is also really small here, but the collection that they managed to fit in the space is insane. There's so much yarn here. The yarn is definitely like the focus of this place as opposed to the others. They have like such a wide selection of so many unique and cool things in a pretty good price range. There's an entire wall from the floor to the ceiling of the different product that they had, and it's kind of like the lower down ones are more normal price, and then up higher there's some like really crazy expensive cool stuff. The last time that we went there we got these for $9 a skein, but we got stuff that was a little bit nicer this time around. We got 5 skeins in 2 different colors for Trevor to make a 2-tone sweater out of. This is what those look like. So 5 of these. We also got 2 of these wool skeins for this project Trevor's working on to make me a beanie. And we spent around $100 on it. Because they needed spun and we got so many of them, they sent us out of the store, told us to come back in half an hour to pick them up. But that ended up working out pretty perfectly. We just went out to dinner at, again, a Mediterranean spot and got some really good food. But yeah, another great spot where the people are always really nice. And I think they're very well loved because it's always so crowded when we go. I was taking some shots for B-roll here and I was like waiting, like standing around for a while, trying not to get anyone in the frame. I had so much fun filming for this one. Like I said, I was looking forward to it for a long time and it felt like a nice excuse to just get ourselves some nice stuff to work on one of our shared interests. I love and would recommend any of the places that we went to if you're in New York and want to do some yarn shopping of your own. And as always, thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for caring about the things that I make. I would always love to see whatever you're working on as well. If you want to connect with me on any of my creative social things, they're always linked down below. And I will see you soon.
Help me, O Lord, to do thy will, humbly now I pray. Help me to thee my service give all along my way, that I, O Lord, may live for thee, do thy blessed command. When trying moments come to me, help me, Lord, to stand.